your way through work Monday, takes everything you got. Then Monday night rolls around and you realize there's a shot. You're only 10 points away. All those times when your team had no fight, they're just so gosh darn frail. Then your star quarterback let another deep ball sail, and your third round pick bet on his team. Then go check out our streets where everybody knows your pain, and they listen to complaints. You wanna be where you can see our bodies bring you no shame. You wanna go where everybody knows your pain.
Welcome into another episode of Dad Bod Fantasy Squad. I am here today with Robbie Bobby. What's up, dude?
What's up, Mario? Good to be back.
It's about time, dude.
I know.
You went on a hiatus for like 18 years, it felt.
I did.
You went out, you left us. You said, hey, I'm going to go pick up a gallon of milk. And you didn't come crawling back till we were 18.
Yeah, I snuck away, Had to go to Denver for a wedding, so it was solid. Little nice little trip. Couple people down there that met up over there. It was fun.
Take part in some legal activities.
I mean, it was a good time. That's all I'm going to say about that. Yeah, it was solid. And then I was going to join last night, but I decided to pass the buck to Alex and House, and I wanted to go somewhere for the Tribe game, but then they got canceled, and then we lost today. So it's fun in Cleveland this week, boys. It's fun in Cleveland.
For Cleveland, yeah. This has been a rough weekend for us. We are also joined with Rob Norton. What's up, man?
What's going on, fellas? How you guys doing?
Doing good. Cold. I got the old man slippers on, man.
It's there you
cold
go.
Out here.
Staying comfy, staying cozy.
Yeah, it's snowing up here, dude.
It's close.
Yeah, it did a little bit. Did a little bit for me. Like when I went to lunch, it was little flurries. I was like, "What the hell is going on here?"
Yeah,
dude. So I put on a couple pounds. I'm like, all right, man. I've been burning up in the summer, like hot as shit. I'm like, dude, this is what it must be like, man. Like, I put some extra weight on, and finally I'm not cold for once. I'm like, this winter, I might not be cold. I might be like going outside I might be one of those shorts guys, going out in 30-degree weather. I go out today. I'm like, no, fuck this.
Just packing the pounds on.
Yeah.
Dad bod to the fullest.
I was just say
it didn't help at all. I thought for sure I just put on an extra coat and it didn't help at all. We have a good episode tonight. We are going to get into obviously the Monday night football game. Another kind of dud.
Terrible.
Wasn't the worst. Wasn't even, but it's been rough. We also going to talk about some waiver wire grabs. And my favorite segment of the day, because we're switching up our format for overall how we're going to be doing things moving forward. Today, we're going to be talking about Dynasty trade targets, Dynasty buy lows, Dynasty sell highs, whatever kind of however you want to say it. That's what we're going to be talking about within the Dynasty world. And I think that's good. Like, I don't think there's a lot of shows that kind of, like when you think about like some of these bigger shows, man, they don't really talk about Dynasty too often. So it'll be nice. Be nice to chat about it.
Yeah, I'm excited, dude. We haven't done this. We haven't done Dynasty talk and probably since the summer.
Preseason. Yeah.
So it's gonna be a good one.
I would like to make Dynasty a part of our weekly shows somewhere. Some part of Dynasty somewhere.
Yeah, definitely.
Having a lot of fun in our league right now, Rob.
And some good times. Some terrible trade offers and some good times.
It wouldn't be Dynasty, right? If it's any other way, right?
All right, let's kick off. We'll get this dud of a game, the Broncos versus the Chargers. Last night, the score was 19-16. The Chargers, they ended up winning on a last-minute field goal from Dustin Hopkins, who was limping after a muffed punt from a blocker getting pushed into his receiver on the punt. It was horrendous. The first question and the obvious one, I'm going to start with you, Robbie. is what the hell happened with Melvin Gordon, and is Latavius Murray the back to own here? Is it going to be messy?
I think it's gonna be messy. Just from all indications last week, right, was Melvin Gordon's gonna be the guy. Mike Boone will get some work. And then out of nowhere this week, they just decided to go with Latavius Murray. It confused everybody, confused me. I didn't see it coming. I don't think really anybody did. I don't know how you can start any of them and feel comfortable.
That's the real truth. Like, we got other issues to worry about. We have Russell Wilson might have. I don't know if you guys got any updates from that. He was supposed to be getting an MRI on his hammy today. Don't know if there's any further developments from that.
They said he's pushing to play, but
supposedly it could be fairly significant. You have this team is a mess. They have a tough road ahead in schedule wise. Like it's not getting easier. So like to roster one of those, it's a little bit scary in general.
Yeah, dude, it's so weird too, because like, so I saw something today too, a little while ago actually. Basically, they were the thing was like Melvin Gordon, he was good enough to steal touches from Javonte.
It's all I was thinking last night.
But like, yeah, dude, it doesn't make any sense. But then he like can't play ahead of practice squad Latavius Murray that they just signed previously.
Doesn't make any sense, man.
Have you guys seen Liar Liar?
Yeah.
You know the scene where he starts like smacking and punching himself?
Yeah.
That was what I wanted to do to myself. As I watched Latavius Murray earn a bell cow role on this offense. I was and it wasn't quite the bell cow. Like Mike Boone came in every so often, but we never saw the Javonte have this role, even the Latavius role. And I was so pissed.
Dude, it was funny too, because I was our guy Ian Hart. He had me cracking up because I'm pulling it up now, but he said Latavius Murray was born 43 years ago, and the Broncos just said, "Hey man, want a jersey? Also, here's Melvin Gordon's job." So I was dying from that last night, but it's just like it's so weird. I don't understand like how all of a sudden like I don't know, man. I don't know if it. The only thing that makes sense to me is that, Melvin was on the injury report recently.
That's
the only thing that like can make sense to me. But like, you should, I think it was you, Mario, that shared the interview with him earlier.
He said I'm good.
He said he's good. So, I mean, obviously players are always like kind of more optimistic on their own stuff. So maybe the trainers didn't fully feel and the coaches didn't feel he was fully explosive or healthy. I don't know, but it's weird.
I always wonder too, like, and you guys might be able to correct me on this, but I think sometimes players can abuse, and I'm not saying they do. I think it's possible that Melvin, who's been on the injury report with a neck issue and a foot injury since I think like week 3, week 2, can abuse that. And I literally don't have it in front of me, but if he was a limited participant in practice all week, I could see the coaching staff feeling a little jaded about this. Like, okay, you said you've been hurt this way and you've been fine by game time every week and we got in and out. I don't know if that's the case. I wonder if it's a possibility that could have been, or maybe Latavius just had the juice.
Yeah. Wasn't it
the 43-year-old juice? What?
I thought it was something. I thought it was something else with him.
With Latavius?
With Melvin.
It was definitely
neck like a hip.
It was neck / something. Yeah. I don't know if you're looking that up, but I'm going to get Norton's thoughts about Justin Herbert. He threw for 60 times, 57 or something like that. Came away with 230 yards, 0 TDs. You probably saw it on Twitter about the boosted DraftKings prop bet that people are pissed about. He had a pick. He hasn't been great since his rib injury. Are we concerned, or is this I'm missing my best friend Keenan Allen?
I honestly think it's a little both. I mean, it's obviously you love to see that volume, but at the same time, it's concerning what he did with it. I think when Keenan gets back, it's going to help. I think as the weeks go on, if he gets healthier, it could help. But we also don't know how fully. I mean, you have a rib injury. The only thing that can help is rest, and here you're not going to make it better by taking hits. So,
No, it could be 2 months till like if you're going through it.
right. So, I mean, I do think as the weeks go on, it'll get better with him. I mean, for what it's worth, like I still think he's a top 10 guy going forward. I had him a little lower heading in just because I pushed up the guys that run a lot. So it wasn't anything against him. I think he's one of the best guys there is. So, but I don't know. I would have him like, I don't know, 7th or 8th or somewhere in that range, I guess, moving forward, maybe right in that range, anywhere from like 6th to 10th, I guess, is where I would rank him. So I'm not too like concerned about it necessarily.
I'm looking at the schedule. Next week we got the Seattle Seahawks. Gotta love that matchup. Got to be probably a top 5 play there. We go to a bye, and then we go to the surprisingly okay Atlanta defense. But the thing about Atlanta is like that defense holds off for so long. If they're in a game, it's been a high scoring affair. So it could be good for him as well, following that San Francisco, then Kansas City. So I would say he's got San Francisco is the one that I would be scared about. The other 3, I mean, Kansas City's defense hasn't been bad either. So like it's not an easy schedule. It's not a terrible schedule either. Seattle is going to be a great play for him.
Yeah. You definitely love anytime you see Seattle on the schedule.
Seattle or Detroit ever since that week 3 or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah,
those
but
2 teams,
so
targets.
Weeks after week 2, so week 3, 4, 5, and 6, he went QB 17, 9, 19, and 24.
Yeah. So I
It's
have
concerning. I mean,
a little bit. I have my reasoning for this though, like Houston secondary, which he was QB 9 then, but even Houston secondary is pretty nice. Cleveland, they ran all over them, and Denver's probably a top 3 defense. They just keep losing because their offense sucks.
I mean, yeah, I get it, but you can say that if it's Kirk Cousins, not a top 5 quarterback in the league. Like something's wrong. So like that's what I'm saying. Like you can drop him that low to like where he is considered in the category of a Kirk Cousins, because that's what he's playing as when he's going up against a good defense. It's just like a question to like watch, because he's better than what he's been playing.
I just think if you got Seattle and then a bye, like that's what you want, right?
Yeah.
Like, cake matchup and then take a break.
I agree. Yeah. I agree. Hopefully, like he tears up Seattle, but what if he's like QB 15? It's just it's interesting.
I think then you have an argument, unless it's a blowout, right? Like if it's 35 to 12 or whatever, and he only gets and he's QB 15, it makes sense. The game script dictated it that way. But if it's a close game and he comes in like QB 12 to 15, then let's hopefully this bye gets him right.
Yeah, and hopefully Keenan comes back, opens some stuff up. I mean,
I think it will. I think they hold Keenan till bye now, right?
Well, they said that he's practicing this week.
It's just silly to put him out there.
I'd be so mad. I'd be so mad.
I know I don't know what to expect because of the bye aspect, but at the same time, like you said, like he's practicing. Everything I've read that said they expect him to play this week.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, expected him to be out a couple weeks, so like, or a week. Now it's been months or whatever. But yeah, I don't know what to expect with him. I'm nervous a little bit about him.
I think like as an organization, your move should be to leave him. They're 4-2. Leave him out to the bye. You playing Seattle? They've been playing better. Why rush him 1 week earlier when you can have 2 for free?
Yeah, I do. I do think as an organization, especially if you feel like you can beat Seattle, which you should, then I think if I was there, I'd be like, hey, if you're not absolutely 100%, even if you're 99%, just sit this one, come back full strength after the bye. We need you for the playoff run.
Just give him a heavy dose of Austin Eckler. That's all Seattle needs. I'll tear him up.
That's true.
What do you have, like 16 targets this week?
Yeah, something
It was
like that. It was
gross.
like
He had 10
14,
receptions.
16. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's filthy.
Did you guys have any last thoughts from this game? Anything that you wanted to make note of? Josh Palmer did decent. I think I personally think he's droppable in 12 team. Anything
I do
that you
too.
guys wanted to note?
The only one I was gonna say was Dulcich, but we can we can talk more about him in the
Yeah, we will.
but yeah,
What a freaking stud. He looks fast, dude.
he
Okay,
looks
well,
pretty good.
I see. This is where I got to stop getting carried away. We will go a little bit more in depth on him in the waiver wire because waiver wire week 6 is kind of light.
Yeah.
It's a little lame this week. Oh yeah, Rob, I see what you're typing, and I'm for it. You're for it. We were early on it. You were super early, maybe too early. I was even too early. All right. Let's go with QBs first. We've talked about Jared Goff. Here's one that we haven't talked about that I see is on your list, and I'll list them all at the end. So Jared Goff, obviously, if he's out there, he's an easy pickup. He had a tough game against the Patriots. They had their bye week. He's getting some more weapons back, some more healthy guys. Jared Goff, go get him if he's there, which I don't expect him to be. But Matt Ryan is the interesting one because he has been turning it up a little bit lately.
Yeah, definitely. I think is he like second in the league in yards or something? Like
he is second in the yards per game.
Yards, I was gonna say. I saw.
Mean second in yards.
Yeah, because I was gonna say. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he's got to be second in total passing yards, which is just. I don't know if that's like a state of the quarterback or what's going on, but he has 1,765 yards, second behind only Josh Allen.
Last 4 games, 15.28, 18.84, stinker in Denver. We should have known. 6.14. Shout out Columbus. And then 28.16 to Jacksonville. So, yeah, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to kind of give his last 4 weeks have been pretty solid.
Yeah. And I think I had heard that they went a lot more up tempo. They went, I'm pretty sure they went completely out of like shotgun the whole entire game. I was listening. I didn't have time to fully research it, but I was listening to a pod today. They were talking about they went fully out of shotgun. They went a lot more no huddle than previous, and it helped a lot because the thing is like from what before they were getting pressured at a crazy rate. Their pass blocking wasn't very good, wasn't very strong. Matt Ryan was taking a lot of sacks, and then this game like was just so much better. Yeah. And then, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, if that was like, it seems like it was like a concerted effort to switch it to where, why have him take the drop back when that just takes time. And if your line isn't blocking well, then just get the ball straight to him in the shotgun. Let him make quick hitters and give him more time to make longer passes and things. So if they keep going like that and going that way, and honestly, I think it's better for Jonathan Taylor too, because if they can pass more effectively, like it's going to open up more for him. And not only that, but if their pass rate is higher, then they should be able to, like he should be able to get more pass work too. So
yeah. The way they use Deion Jackson, you would think that would be the case. I did see and I can't remember who posted this. It was some one of these, like either a coach analyst or it was a player analyst, and they were talking about players playing out of how much shotgun we've seen this year. And it's something that I've been watching since they said that, but they also went on to say the shotgun's much more predictable for defense. Like they said it limits what the offense can do compared to taking the ball out of the right from the center. Like it makes sense because like you kind of set your running back up. Like the play action isn't as efficient when you're kind of doing it from the shotgun. That they say this way better than I do. If I could find the video, I will post it on our Twitter. I'll retweet it. But it was interesting for sure.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, like most of the time you don't seem to run as effective out of the shotgun, most teams. Just it doesn't seem to happen. I mean,
you don't get the bootleg. You don't get as efficient as a play action. The blocking's a little bit different. Like there's a lot of things that this person mentioned. I can't think who it is, so it's going to be so tough to find. That I was like, shit, you're right, or I believe you because you played in the NFL or coach. You may have been Coach JB Smooth. Do you guys know who that is?
No, JB Smooth is.
I think his name is Coach JB Smooth on Twitter. Maybe it's just JB. Maybe it's just Coach JB. The coach from the Netflix show.
Oh, from what's it called? Is it you're talking about
Last chance?
Yeah, last or no,
Last
not
chance.
last.
Yeah.
Last chance you. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
The one that was like crazy, right? Like the kind of the dude that I think he was in prison. Like he has like a huge following on Twitter, and he breaks down. He's like, Derek Carr ain't it, y'all, and he'll like show these clips of him. He hates Derek Carr, hates him.
That's funny. That's funny. I'm
follower.
sure Derek Carr's got him blocked. Probably.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
He's one for that.
Quick trigger.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And from what I've heard, I don't think I'm blocked, so I don't know, but I've heard from a lot of analysts saying he's basically like he's one step below Ben Roethlisberger.
Wow.
Derek Carr.
Yeah.
Does Ben Roethlisberger block a bunch of people?
Oh,
yes.
Dude, everyone.
Yeah,
everyone. He's basically he just block if you mention his name at all, pretty much blocked you. If there's anything even negative one time ever, it's just boom, you're done.
Good.
You're not even.
Like Ben Roethlisberger come on our show. Do you think he'll block us?
I don't know.
I'm pretty
You have to shoot that shot.
Pretty positive he went through all like the Cleveland area sports reporters and just blocked them all. Like didn't even like no they didn't say anything. He just blocked them all.
I don't know if I'm gonna shoot my shot. I don't know if I'll get House to do it.
Yeah, let House do it.
Robbie, is there any other QBs that you wanted to talk about on waiver wire before I list them? Just want to make sure you didn't want to deep dive on any of these.
No.
If not, we can keep going.
Not really.
Okay.
To be honest.
Jimmy Garoppolo is one that I would keep monitoring in one QB leagues. If you're desperate, he's a much. Typically, I think this game. I don't know what this game looked like fantasy wise for him. Typically, a pretty consistent QB where he's not going to cost you too much or get you too much. Marcus Mariota does a lot with his legs. He's carrying fantasy for that reason. Only throws about 15 times a game. So if he's not getting it done on his legs, it's a little bit scarier. Daniel Jones, if he's out there, I think he's what on this list that I'm going off of. I think he has the highest upside because this offense has been simplified. Another player coach, can't remember who was talking about it, talked about how Brian Daboll simplified this offense for him. He did this end around where it's a fake, comes back to Daniel Jones, and he has one read, no progressions, one read, hit the shot. I was like, maybe some of these QBs need this shit. If guys like this is a great call out, Norton. I believe you inputted this. Guys like Dak, Derek Carr, Tua, if they're out there, I would go grab them above all of the guys mentioned. But they're likely not. I got Dak earlier.
Yeah, I actually picked up Dak maybe a few weeks ago because I had an open IR spot. I could stash him in the IR spot. So I don't know. One of the guys dropped him. He ended up getting
the person in mine had an IR open spot and they dropped him. I was like, what the hell?
See, that's one thing I always am like, I always talk about with people. I'm like, knowing your rules and settings is just like one of the most important things because that person just wasted that. But like in mine, I think the guy was already using the IR spot on Jameson Williams actually. And then he had picked up Geno. And so he dropped Dak,
right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I would have done it,
No,
but
I wouldn't have done that.
I probably would have stuck with Dak and dropped Jameson or someone else on his bench. Maybe I don't know, but I don't know. I mean, it's not. I don't think it's the most egregious considering though. At least like it makes a little bit more sense than someone who has an IR spot and just doesn't use it. But I wouldn't have dropped him. I don't think.
I mean, Jameson Williams hasn't played a snap.
Right, and that's why I think I probably would.
I was maybe more talking about Geno.
Yeah, no, yeah, I mean, Right. Well, yeah, and that's the thing is I think that's why he did it was he had Geno, he felt like he wanted to stash Jameson, and I mean I guess that's what he did. But I scooped him up, and because I had an open spot, and I stashed him since, and then plus like you mentioned with obviously Dak and Tua have been hurt, and then Carr's coming off bye, so like single QB leagues, especially 10-teamers or shallow benches or stuff, like people aren't really wanting to carry two, especially if they're like borderline,
I have 3 in a league, and it is the grossest feeling ever. And it's I'm gonna drop one probably this week or next or somewhere this week. I have Kirk Cousins, Dak Prescott, and Tua. Traded for Tua, couldn't pass up the opportunity on Dak being dropped.
Right.
But Kirk was the only one playing for the last 3 weeks, so I felt like I had to keep 3 because I already traded for Tua earlier in the season.
So, yeah, true. So here's my situation with the one I stashed Dak. So I've had Russ this whole time. I drop Russ, right? Like that's what I'm planning on dropping Russ. Well, if I have a pickup that I want to make, I mean, I'm not just gonna drop him, but like,
right.
If I want to pick up, I feel like I should have no problem dropping Russ and just moving forward that.
Yeah, he's sitting in ours. Let's get to some RBs that might be out there. Rob, is there any guys that you're picking up in your leagues so I could go snake them from you? Who are you looking at?
That's a good question, man. I mean, Kenyon Drake's an interesting one. Just from what we saw this week, he looked really good, and J.K. Dobbins didn't. He hasn't looked great since he's come back.
Tweaked his knee, supposedly.
Yeah, okay.
Don't know what that means.
Yeah, and even before then, he had one decent game coming off that ACL, and we've talked about it a few times. Like a player coming back from an ACL it's a tough injury. Like he might get on the field. It's very rare that he comes back and is like back to himself year one. Like it takes another year for him to rehab, get the full strength in the leg, and look how he did previously. Just like Saquon Barkley last year, right? Like he was coming off the ACL. He didn't look quite right. He ended up getting hurt. Like those are the things that if it's me and I have J.K. Dobbins, I'm for sure getting Kenyon Drake, and for sure, there's no doubt about it. But even if I would still snag Kenyon Drake in regular leagues, if you have an open spot that you're comfortable with using on him, even if you're not going to start him, he's somebody to have because J.K., you don't know what's going to happen with him. Like no, it's a very hard thing to come back from and stay healthy that whole year. So I like Kenyon Drake out of the list that we got.
Yeah, I love what you're saying there. I think it's almost like the whole thing that you just said right now could be clipped and we can remind ourselves in early July through all the way till Labor Day.
We always talk ourselves into, okay, it's an ACL.
Javonte.
Yeah. Right.
We got this. It's the exact same injury, the torn LCL. Help me out here, boys. Maybe PCL as well, which is what J.K. Dobbins had: torn LCL, PCL, and ACL.
Dobbins was rough. Yeah.
It's Javonte's was as well. So like, keep this in mind is all I'm saying. When we're going into drafts, I know it's gonna be hard. Just remember this. Like, it's gonna be a slow start for Javonte coming back. Sorry, I'm getting off topic.
No, you're fine. And everything that like I've talked to a ton of I have a bunch of PT buddies that I just talked to, and they say there is a dramatic difference from just an ACL tear to fully tearing the LCL, PCL, and ACL. Yeah. Like it is a drastic difference, especially coming back to like a hard cutting a game like football. Like it's way different.
Oh, for sure. And dude, this is what I always talk about too. When I always tell you guys, like when we were talking about preseason, I was like, any guy that's like under a year removed from a major injury, I'm pushing them down. Like I always have them below consensus. Anyone who's like currently injured, I'm below consensus. Anyone that's outside of more than a full year removed though, like I'm cool with. Yeah. Like once they're more than a full year removed. And the thing is like what happens every year, we see this every year. These guys, they tear stuff during the year, the next year they come back, the reports are glowing. Look at them in camp. They're doing this. It's like, dude, it's camp. Like
Godwin.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And like the same thing with Godwin. Like I love Godwin as a player, but like, dude, like these guys, he didn't have surgery till like after the year.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's like
Michael
so
Gallup,
quick.
like-
Yeah, so quick to come back.
And you
These
can
guys,
look at the difference between those two, Gallup and Godwin. Like Gallup's been healthier so far,
Right,
Because he
and-
took the time to get back a little bit more, at least.
yeah, and it's like, dude, like even like there's so much that can go wrong. Like one little tweak, one little hit, any kind of soreness, even if they're fully healthy, like are they even fully healthy?
Like,
Like,
look at great. That's a great point that you just said. Like, look at Odell Beckham, what he dealt
Yeah.
with in Cleveland. There was now all the reports are coming out that his knee surgery wasn't successful.
yeah, it's
And
like,
it was just a matter of time before it snapped again. Like,
And
it happens.
and here's the other thing about it. Like, so one of the things that we always see too is like everyone's so like encouraged when they first come back. Everyone's like the first year, everyone's so
Yeah.
encouraged. And what happens is we see this every time where the guys
James
will,
Robinson.
yeah, they'll do is like every time they'll come back and almost, I would say 75% plus of the time they disappoint from what our expectations are, because our expectations are what we thought of them before. Like they're like, okay, well, now that they're fully healthy, they're going to be what they were before. And it's almost never like that. And then what happens is now it's an overcorrection in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Like we see with Saquon. Like look at Saquon. He's the perfect example. Last year,
the
everyone was,
following year.
yeah, last year everyone was high on him. They're like, oh, he's coming back. He's healthy again. He's back from the ACL. The reports are good. He disappointed, gets re-hurt. Now then comes back this year. Everyone's like, no, not Saquon. He's injury prone. I can't get him. I can't do this, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, he's this is a second year removed. Like these are the kind of things like you got to give him.
I had him at 9. I feel
He's-
good about
he's
having him at 9.
Throwing him out there.
You were
CMC,
saying
you could point those fingers for CMC.
early
Maybe.
talks.
But these are
There was talks where like I was I remember mentioning this to you, Norton. I said I have started to come around on Saquon, but I'm gonna hold my stance on CMC.
I do remember. Remember it, and I remember we talked about that a lot. But yeah, that's the thing is like I always, and like sometimes it'll burn you a little bit, but I feel like Cooper Kupp's one example where he came back and was just awesome. And
He's
but like
the only one that I could find.
yeah, and like maybe Adrian Peterson, maybe
Adrian Peterson I was just gonna say him.
he came back. I mean, he came back like freakishly fast
Yeah, it was
for at the
weird.
time, especially
Like 6 months or something.
yeah, like which was unheard of at the time.
Yeah.
So like, but like that's the thing is like for me, I always fade those guys that first year, and then the perception drops, and then the next year is when you really want to buy back in because now these guys are just like way more fully healed, and they're determined. Like almost always, like we saw with Saquon this year. Like I had Saquon up at 5 running back, and like exactly the reason.
When you mention a year out, you mean like if it's more than a year, do you mean more than a season or a year mark? Because like the
Year
reason
mark.
I bring that up, well, and like even that, it should be injury dependent, right? Like we look at J.K. Dobbins, it happened in August. He didn't start playing until I think it was week 4, and he's still struggling. So like I think that you got to be careful. The reports out of Baltimore was very strange with JK.
Yeah.
Like you kind of just saw constant like JK might not be ready, JK tweeting I'm gonna be ready.
Yeah.
It was very odd like the whole time. And if you were to ask me now what happened, I would say the training staff said you need to slow down, and he's been trying to get on the field. That's what it looks like now.
And that's what I think happens with a lot of times with players because they're so amped and they want to play. Like they want to play, they want to prove everyone wrong. They want to go out there and be like, no, I'm good. And players, sometimes they need the training staff to save them from themselves. Like, it is like, I mean, it's rough.
If it's Achilles, we're still waiting on somebody to prove us wrong. Like,
I mean, what's Jameson Robinson is like. Or
James Robinson.
Thinking about Jameson Williams. James Robinson. Like he's the only one I can think of that actually looked okay coming back.
It's not as great as you would say. Like,
and he doesn't look great.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like he doesn't look awesome. But again, we've talked about this a couple times. Like he was the only player I've in a long time felt decently comfortable with just because of his running style. Like he's not a shifty back. He's not a real
Just ground.
home run hitter anyways. He's just kind of put his head down, run into the back of the line, get 4 yards. Like that's his kind of style. So I didn't anticipate the Achilles really hurting that, and it hasn't to this point.
Right.
But yeah, the Achilles is the one that for me, that's the one. Like I'm not touching you no matter what, really.
Yeah, it's a really scary injury to come back from for running backs.
Yeah,
for
definitely.
Any player.
Yeah, and I agree. You got to take them, like you said, like you got to take it as it is. Like obviously, like an ACL, like a knee injury like Javante's or Dobbins is more serious than like a clean ACL tear only. So you got to take them for what it is. Like, but at the same time, anytime there's an ACL tear or an Achilles, like I want to be at least a full year like removed from the surgery point, and then that's when I'm going to start feeling a little bit more comfortable. Because even studies have shown 8 to 9 months is the safe return, like where you're actually returning with far less risk. Yeah. With far less risk of re-tearing. But like, I mean, a lot of guys come back quicker than that. You just have a higher risk of re-tear. But then, and that's what my concern with Godwin was. But with how quick he was coming back, I was just like, I just have a bad feeling about this. And then, like you said, take everyone as it is. Like, it's not just a blanket this for this, like, obviously. And then, but I just think that, like you said, we got to keep it in mind for next year with Javonte, especially, like, and even if the reports, true. Even if the reports are glowing, like, show a little cautious.
Back to the RBs, Latavius Murray. We talked about him a little bit earlier. He could have a decent role on this offense.
I have no idea.
I don't either.
Yeah.
I don't think he's not somebody that I'm prioritizing grabbing. Deion Jackson is another one that I'm not really prioritizing.
Yeah.
I think this is fool's gold here. I think you got Hines, you got JT on the cups.
JT's got to be back, right?
That's what I think.
Hurt his quad. I don't know how serious that is. JT's got to be close.
Yeah.
It sounded like JT was borderline ready to play last week. So I don't know. And the thing is like, I think the only reason that he got so much pass work was, one, they went so pass heavy, and two, he got both like Hines and JT roll. So even if one of them's back, that's going to
split some of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fair.
I see Tyler Algier on this list. Is he?
It's kind of gross, but
it is gross. Is he? Let me look up his snap percentage.
It's gross.
It's been a pretty much 50-50 split with Caleb Huntley.
But he's getting 16 carries a game.
I think both of them got like 15 or 16.
They ran 40 times that game, dude, with Mariota's.
God, it's so
57% snap, 15 carries.
I don't know. I can't stand the Falcons play calling. It's just the worst, dude. You have Pitts in London, absolutely, and you just want to run with Algier, and it's just stupid. But
you have Mariota. What are you supposed to do? I actually kind of think he's a genius.
Figure it out. That's what you do.
I think he's of like he's 3-2, boys. 3-3, 3-3 or 3. I think 3-3.
No, dude. There has to be a way more.
We hate him, and I understand the hate, because we're looking at Kyle Pitts, Drake London going to absolute waste. But
that's the thing is, like, why if you're just gonna run all day, why even draft those guys? Like,
well, I think I don't think in the game plan was lose Matt Ryan because you pissed him off going for Deshaun Watson. I don't believe that was in their GM playbook.
True, but did Matt Ryan leave before the draft this year though?
I believe so.
Yeah, and they took.
But they took London too, right? Like they took.
Yeah, they took London and Desmond.
I get it. I mean, you take the best talent you can.
I do, but like
they were probably they thought they were gonna lose, and now this Arthur Smith is out here like, yeah, no, we're not losing. We're not losing today, boys. I'm gonna run it down their throats.
But still, dude, you like have to somehow gimmick plays up to get them the ball. Like, they're that good. You have to figure it out.
3-3. 3-3, boys.
Maybe they'd be 5-1 if they got
right. You guys are talking about Mariota throwing more. I think you both are being a little silly. That's Mariota hate, not Drake and Kyle Pitts hate. Wide receivers. Alec Pierce was mentioned and talked about. He's been looking phenomenal.
Yes.
Fast, gets open. Michael Gallup, we've talked about. Rondale Moore, we've talked about. If those guys are out there, go grab them. Rondale Moore is set for a big game this Thursday.
Yeah.
I'm calling that. Calling my shot.
Rest of the season, he's gonna have a good season.
I'm an avid Rondale hater, but
I know.
I get it, but with Marquise Brown out, Nuke coming back, like got to get reacclimated to the offense.
Oh, don't
So they bring in
dude.
Robbie Anderson to run a
Don't believe
straight
it. They
line
don't
down.
use
I
the
mean,
slot right.
they'll figure it
Yeah.
out.
I know we talked I think you and I talked about it last week, Mario, about the manufactured touches.
It's great. Like that's a death sign. I do
Hey,
think
you
he's gonna
know
have a
who
huge
you know
game
who
this-
might actually come back into play?
Greg Dortch. He can't though. I
Why?
wish because
Why?
my thought I
Why
would
not?
love that, Rob. There is nothing more in the NFL that I would love outside of Javante being magically healed is Greg Dortch return. But Rondale completely plays the slot. He would. I don't think they would. Move him.
Dortch can play outside.
I don't know why he hasn't been then. Like it's been Hollywood, and they haven't had Dortch in. They've had AJ Green in,
Yeah, I mean,
and then they're just going to put Robbie Anderson there.
And they say
they're
they're
not gonna mess around with Robbie Anderson.
No, they traded for him. They're going to mess around with him.
They're not gonna mess around.
They like that speed.
They like the speed to just like
You're not going to see him really this Thursday. You might see like one scripted play for him, but
he might, I think he's more just a
he's gimmick.
field stretcher,
Yeah, he's a gimmick.
gimmicky. But
I think he'll be out there a ton.
yeah, I do think he's going to play a good amount. I think he's going to be running, doing his best Nelson Aguilar
I still
impression out
think
there.
Rondale Moore gets the bump from the
I do
Marquise
too.
Brown.
I do too. I mean, because the thing is like we always expected Hopkins back.
Yeah.
And then it was like, basically we were like, okay, well, with Hopkins and Hollywood, Rondale loses value. But now with Hollywood out, I think Rondale sustains and gets
He's
even
the number 2.
Yeah,
3,
him and
I guess with
Ertz, maybe. Yeah, I was gonna say, but
But-
I still like him because, like I said, I think I made the mention of like he's like a like a generic version, poor man's version of Percy Harvin from back in the day, where this small guy that they're manufacturing screen touches because they like the ball in his hands because he's explosive, he's shifty, he's a playmaker with the ball in his hands, so they want to get him the ball. And like, I get it that like. And I know you I think you made the mention, Mario, that like the point that if you got to manufacture him touches, that's a sign that he's not being able to earn touches himself, which I get that point. It makes some sense, but like, I just like the free points of getting manufactured like screen touches and stuff.
Maybe. Rob, I'm going to give you 30 seconds. Unless you don't want this, you could pass it out. You could pass it along to Norton, or you could pass it to myself. Wan'Dale Robinson. Is he a great pickup for you?
He's up there for me. Yeah. I like him. I like what I saw. I think they're going to keep getting him involved in the offense.
I think so too. I think he's a playmaker. And I think that's what you want, that high upside. He didn't get a lot of snaps this week. He should.
He likes Wan'Dale, but he doesn't like
Rondale.
Rondale.
I love Rondale's evil twin, Wan'Dale.
Apparently. Like
I'm all about
Mario and Wario.
It's funny because to me they're like very similar players. Like they're small, shifty guys, playmakers.
Rondale, right? I have seen Danny love the Tony, the Wan'Dale sort of playmaker on their team. I've seen Danny love it.
It's fair.
He loves Tony. And Wan'Dale came in receiving 36% targets per route run. Anyways, I want to make this fast. Thornton, Tyquan Thornton. Who wants to you want to hype him up, Norton? You got 30 seconds.
Yeah, he's a second round guy coming on, or no real. I mean, besides Jacoby, but like, I mean, he's doesn't have a whole lot of target competition, I don't think. So he was hyped up. A lot of people liked him in the preseason. Said he was super fast, big. There was excitement for him during that time, and then he got hurt. So maybe he can bust out a little bit.
It sure looked like if Bailey Zappi's the guy, which is possible, he liked him at least yesterday or Sunday. Tight ends. There's 2 that we need to talk about, and I'll start with you again, Norton. Greg Dulcich. You have 45 seconds for this one.
Yeah, Greg Dulcich. I mean, he looked good looked good on last night, and I think I saw a good stat on him where he was. Let's see here if I can find it. Yeah, 13% of the targets, 81% route participation.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
For
so
sure.
I mean, yeah, first game back too, and Alberto's been basically nothing. So he's got some high upside for a tight end with those kind of numbers, especially in the first game back. So hopefully he can improve upon that. And he was known as a pass catcher, really coming out. Tight ends rookies are kind of rough sometimes, so probably a roller coaster. But I mean, tight end sucks. So I mean, take a chance on him, I think.
Yeah.
He's a great chance. If you stash him in Dynasty, you love it. Robbie,
Yes.
drive home the tight end love with your favorite
Danny
tight end.
B. Danny Bellinger, dude. I love him.
He's starting to heat up.
Dude, I've been all about him since the preseason. I took him in all my rookie drafts. Every week he's gained more snap share. Every week he's getting more involved. Seems to find the end zone. There's not a lot of weapons there for him to work with anyway. So Bellinger is a top target for him. If they can start throwing the ball a little bit more efficient, a little bit more, I think Daniel Bellinger could have a very clear path to being a good tight end option. He's tight end 15 right now. This week he put up 15 points. He was on the field 95% of the snaps.
Ooh, shit.
I
That
mean,
jumped drastically from 2 or 3 weeks ago.
He was 50-50 the first 2 weeks, and then 60, 75. He just keeps creeping up.
95
They like him.
is fat.
That's
pretty
and
huge.
he is good. He's a good pass catcher. Like, he's good, sure-handed. He gets open. He's a good route runner. That's why I was in on him in the preseason, because he is a good route runner. He's a good pass catcher, and there's no other tight ends there. Like, there's no other good tight ends. That's why I was all about him in the preseason. And we're starting to see it, dude. Toot, baby.
This Giants team might be
Dayball's good, dude.
Solid, dude. They're getting pieces back. They're learning their playmakers. Woo, woo, woo.
Dude, so yeah, I was looking to see what it was compared to. Like he went basically like between 50 to 70% snaps. It was like 56, 59, 66, 59, 69, then 97. And then he ran 9 rounds, 13, 17, 7, 11, then 24. So yeah, if it was his season high in snaps,
is this
routes,
Dulcich or Bellinger?
Bellinger, snaps,
Okay.
routes, targets, receptions.
Yeah, he's
Not yards. He had 40 in one of the games, but
yeah.
It was clear cut best usage.
He's turning into a good player. Like, his yards aren't there yet, right? His top target week is 5. He's had 5 receptions, but the good thing is that he's getting on the field more and more. He's running more routes. He's starting to become a focal point of this offense.
Yeah.
And last point. When they get some pieces back, Kadarius Toney and some other weapons on this offense, fine. Even if he doesn't, not that Wan'Dell is back, that's going to help. It's going to open the field up more for him. So I am in on him for this season.
Yeah, he was, when Sterling Shepard went down is when I really kind of committed to your Bellinger love, and that's when I think was the time to pick him up. He is still available. I would go out and grab him right now because tight ends are weak.
Yeah, for a rate stat for those route and target share, it was 20% target share this weekend and 82% route. And I know, like, anytime it's above 75% is like the kind, and then when you get above 80%, that was the thing we saw with like Njoku in the preseason, where it was like the one year that he was awesome was the year he was above 80% or 75% route participation, and then that's what we saw again in this preseason, and look what he's doing now. So like, Bellinger is definitely a sneaky one, and he's out there in a lot of leagues.
He is.
Especially two tight ends. I mean, he's got to be picked up in 2 tight end leagues, but or tight end premium stuff like that. Like, I'm all about it.
He needs to be picked up in 1 tight end. 12 team, 10 team.
100%.
I even think 10 team he should be rostered. I'm with it. And I'm actually kind of thinking that with Dulcich too. Like, when we look at tight ends, these two offer a upside that a lot of guys don't. Like Dawson Knox this year, you pick up one of these guys and you start to see if they start to develop into real playmakers, while Dawson Knox just kind of you're looking for
Evan
TD.
Ingram experience, like all those kind of
Irv
Logan
Smith,
Thomas,
Cole Kmet, if you had him still. It really, like, if you don't got a top 5, top 6 tight end at this point, you should be picking one of these guys up. Dynasty trade targets, man. I want to get to this segment so bad. It's so great. There's so much we could talk about, and it may get a little carried away and it may go a little over than we want to go over, but I'm excited to talk about some Dynasty. I wanted to kick off with this, Norton. I want to say this, and I'm going to say, cue the Robbie. Here we go.
Here we go.
Robbie has no clue, and you may not, how to value a Dynasty running back.
Those may be some. I see the look in
Fighting
his eyes. I was gonna say they might be some fighting words, but
If I was in Columbus, he'd get a smack.
but yeah, it's interesting. That's what's wild too about fantasy or about Dynasty in general is like values can be all over the place,
And they are.
Yeah, for sure. Like it's tough, especially like obviously you just have the simple fact of if someone's a buyer or seller, like that just changes values drastically, in my opinion, like right there. And then just from that point, the person who's managing the team, like their values on specific players, like from that point. So it's like so varied, but
it is. And like when we talk about it, unless we're saying a different sort of setup, let's assume, and anytime that we talk about Dynasty, and maybe I'll always bring up this little disclaimer, we're talking about a 12-team PPR Superflex.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is the standard Dynasty approach. If we're ever going to dig deeper somewhere, we'll say tight end premium, TEP, we'll say 14-team, 10 teams, like all the little shits and whatnot. So, but for what we're going to be talking about is 12-team Superflex.
Okay,
so
that works.
The first one is, what I wanted to know is, like, give me some guys that you may be targeting right now for it's middle of the season, and you may be contending, you may not be. Are you targeting Najee Harris? Who wrote this? Who wrote this? Who put Najee? Of course you did.
I figured Najee was going to come up for sure.
Yeah, I'm sitting back. Let Norton do his thing.
Ooh. I mean, you know my feelings on Najee before the year.
I would love to hear the feelings for Dynasty and right now.
I mean, the thing is, yeah. So the thing with Dynasty is it's tough. So it's tough for me, because I want to put this disclaimer out too. I play much more short term and win now than most people do in Dynasty, just because I try to embrace the fact that like we don't know. Like it's hard enough, it's hard enough to know next year, let alone next week. Like guys come into value. I mean, no one before the year, if you told me, yeah, we're gonna start Deion Jackson week 6, like I would have said you're crazy. I don't even know who that is. Like, so especially with the running back position, like, I mean, there is part of me that's like, okay, I want to buy Najee because he's a first round draft capital running back, and he's been so bad that like I don't think there can be much lower to go, like for his value. But like, yeah. I mean, at the same time, I'm like,
how much higher can it go?
Right, and I don't want to. And like for me, like I said with running backs, it's so hard to like. A lot of people. There was people making a Trent Richardson comparison before the year. I had seen that come out, and like it's looking much more fair than like what people wanted to, because Najee was like, some people were ranking him like Dynasty RB2, even like behind JT, like heading into the year.
We did a startup this year, and when we were drafting, it went JT, Javonte, Najee, I think.
Yeah, and that was like typical. He was either going like 2 to 4 in that range, so I mean it's tough. But I am not really buying probably. I mean, like I said, like it's just the fact of like even if I so for me, like even if I was in a rebuild situation, I wouldn't be really buying as much because I would be mostly trying to target young, high upside wide receivers. I just think they're more stable, like high draft capital wide receivers. Like I'd be going after anyone.
I do love him.
That's funny.
He deserves. I picked him.
I figured, but the thing is like it's not out of bounds. Like
Najee.
yeah,
Kind of.
yeah, it's tough. It's tough. They're both down bad right now. But
Mhm.
dude, I don't know. I don't know. I probably wouldn't because like I said, like I would be more looking at like even if I needed running back help, like I'm more looking to like if I needed running back help, my thing is like I need running back help right now. I don't necessarily like that could change by the time next year gets. And if I don't care about right now when I'm rebuilding, I just want to get the best talent for next year. And so I'm looking more at like
Are you selling him though? Like if you have him, are you selling him?
I'd be tempted not to just because
His value's so low.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I would see what I could get because, like, again, I don't think the shelf life for running backs is that great. So if I don't think I'm contending now, I do want to move running backs. But man, it's just it's really
like you said. If I'm not contending now, I don't really want to keep. I should phrase this like I think my team is contending now in one of our dynasties, and I don't want Najee anymore. He's not going to be on my he's not going to be in my starting rotation. He sucks. I don't want to have this sinking.
I mean, it also depends on your construction of your team. Like if you have
construction, you could flip and flip and flip and flip.
Sure, but if you have two running backs that you're comfortable with starting over Najee Harris, yeah, sure, that's cool. That are you're comfortable moving forward into the future with. That's fine.
I try to give Robbie pieces for Najee. He didn't want to. I try to get him to contend.
So
I said, here's the Zeke, the same version as Najee. Plus, you get your boy KJ Osborne.
Yeah, those are the offers that I'm fielding. It's insane, dude. It's insane. Why would I get? But I would rather him rot on my bench than do something like that.
That's a non-winner's attitude, right?
Sure, whatever you want to call it, but there's no chance I would make that move. Like I'm not going to trade a younger Zeke Elliott who can possibly get better. Zeke's declining. Najee can improve. All they have to do is get a better offensive line. Dude, they have one of the worst offensive lines in the league.
But
and a quarterback that can throw the ball.
Efficiency wise, it's never been there. So I don't necessarily see like there's not anything that tells you he could get better. This is just what we've always seen.
But there is everything pointing to Zeke getting way worse.
Yeah, you compete now.
Way worse.
He gets to work. He's doing better.
No, there's no chance. Like, there's no way a rebuilding team. Okay. If I'm rebuilding,
okay, we don't have to dive deep on that part. But
I'm just giving my outlook on like how I view that kind of move. Like, if I'm trying to rebuild my team, the last thing I'm doing is sending young pieces away. Like, I'm not going to do that unless I can get a haul. And
no, but I thought we were talking about your team contending.
If your team's contending, I'm still not going to do that. Like, Ezekiel Elliott's not going to get you more points than Najee on a week-to-week basis.
He isn't yet.
He's not. So why would I make that move? Because it's you're swapping two shitty running backs, but one's younger and has way less wear on him than an older guy, and then a wide receiver that isn't going to.
Is your favorite?
I liked him coming into the season. The offense as a whole.
Just tell me you bailed them.
The whole offense isn't doing what I anticipated.
Either pick a side, damn it.
This was
you're in or you're out.
I was in on him preseason. You can't throw it in my face now.
Well, I'm asking.
Am I out on KJ Osborne?
Yeah.
I mean, if I could get him in for free, I would take him. Like
he was all right.
I don't think there's any life left. I mean, we could get down this rabbit hole if you want.
I don't want to go down that rabbit hole because I want to stick to kind of an RB before we go to a wide receiver here, because I think this is really relevant. I don't have it listed here, and it's also another Robbie and Mario story that has came up in the past few days. By the way, Norton, I to prove a point, I sent Najee away for DJ Moore. Don't care.
Also,
Hey,
DJ Moore is somebody
I'm-
I'm actively buying in every league.
Because like I think,
I'm here for that.
yeah, and I think
You know I would
Robbie,
be here for that.
Robbie like looks at these running backs, and I get it. Like running backs are important. Najee is 24. He turns 25 in March. He's not necessarily as young as you would want for a second year, which you could say does or doesn't matter because Eckler looks great. And I think he's 28, 29, but he has
Yeah.
like barely any on his legs.
And he's also a different style of running. Like he's a pass catching. Those guys age better. Just they don't take like as much wear and tear in between the tackles. They get them out in space. Like that's why I'm like those are the kind of guys. Like if I'm going after someone, I'm going after a pass catching kind of running back. Like that's like even if they're like middle aged. Because people have the perception of like guys dropping off at a certain age, but I think those guys tend to last a little bit longer. So like, I don't know if you feel the same way. I mean, I know Eckler obviously is kind of an outlier, like just because he's so good and he's been so efficient as a receiver, but like, I just think any of those guys that get good pass work, like Kamara, even like, Kamara's like been able, he hasn't looked as great, like, but at the same time, like, you know, when he gets the pass work, like he's lasted longer than other running backs have in general. So like, you know, I'm like, and same thing like CMC, like I'd be fine acquiring him. I just think those guys who get a lot of pass work and get out on the edge, they not only do they tend to last a little longer, and then not only that, but they seem better for fantasy because they get that work.
Yeah. I could definitely see that. And like, and maybe this is the wrong approach, but like the running back position in Dynasty, and I see this often, it to me is the least valuable position in Dynasty.
Obviously in trades.
Yeah, because like, I mean, things just change so quick. Like Javonte was the number 3 ranked Dynasty RB. Out for the year. And then what are you doing? And that could happen with anybody. I don't want to say that it can't, but the likelihood of it happening to an RB versus wide receiver, tight end, it just is stronger, and the turnover is stronger. We've seen JT out. Najee has been rough. And these are guys that like, that was your 1, 2, 3 if you were doing a startup. Not necessarily 1, 2, 3 off the board, but the first 3, that was first round for most startups, maybe early second. If you're super flex.
Yeah, for sure. And like, and that's why it is so tough because it does change so fast, like with running backs. And like, I don't know. I mean, I saw some people saying Breece Hall's RB1 Dynasty right now. Like, I mean, it's not, I don't know. Like it maybe like I loved Breece Hall. I took him pretty high actually in a dynasty startup heading into this year because I was really, really high on him. Like
where's Kenneth Walker fall?
Dude,
top 5?
You can make a case for him, honestly, top 5, top 6, top 7. But again, like for me, like I play so much more like short term that like the way I value, especially running backs. Like since I like I said, I just lean into that variability of like you don't know what's gonna happen. They change that's so quickly that like I value like the here and now, what the running backs are here and now so much more because anything can change so quickly. Like I don't know, like why pick a a random young running back just because he's young and then in 5 weeks or at the end of the year you're cutting this guy because like you see it a lot where people just like try to project so far to the future. And I just think I don't know.
Isaiah Spiller, perfect example for that.
Yeah, as I say, Isaiah Spiller was one I was thinking of too. Yeah,
the guy to take the reins in LA, and he's healthy scratches.
Right, and you see like especially, and you'll see it every year in startups too. Like guys like Mixon, Eckler, Fournette, like all these guys get pushed way, way, way down
because they're
older. Then like because they're older, and then everyone just like boosts up the young, super young guys like way, way up, and like half the time it just doesn't work out with those guys, and now you're in a rebuild quicker than you wanted to be, and then
perfect
perpetual rebuild. Yeah,
like the Cam Hake, anybody bumping up Cam Akers in a startup. It's too risky, man. Like he tore his Achilles, but yeah, that's a perfect example. It worked out for those that bumped up Kenneth Walker, and we're talking startup again. Kenneth Walker and Breece Hall. If you were like, yeah, I'm in. It worked out as of now. As of week going into week 7, we've seen 2 weeks of Kenneth Walker and a pretty good amount of film of Breece Hall to kind of say that. Now that Robbie's back,
Yes,
David Montgomery becomes an interesting dynasty target of some sort.
Mhm.
Like what do you do with David Montgomery and Norton? I don't know if you saw, I think I posted it. Maybe I didn't. I cannot say this coach's last name. The Bears coach,
Eberflus.
Eberflus. Is that really it?
yeah.
I think it is. I think.
I
hope.
He said they are going with a hot hand approach as of now. Like that David Montgomery dynasty value just went. If you were the non-believer, which is Rob, so he's here, right? He's a non-believer in Khalil Herbert. That dynasty value just went. And I'll stop here because we haven't seen it yet.
So you're talking about Monty?
Yeah, David Montgomery.
Yeah. Okay. But so you're saying his value is going down because of what the coach said?
I think so.
I think you need to see it. Like he can talk all he wants.
We're starting
to
to see it.
Are we? He was on the field 80% this week.
Yeah, and Khalil Herbert got 7 carries.
So what?
I don't know if I've seen him get 7 carries outside of when he's the only one there.
I could care less if he gets 7 carries as long as Monty's on the field 80% of the snaps.
It just might not be that way anymore.
Again, until I see it, like I'm not concerned at all.
You are doing a disservice by not telling people to start exploring options for David Montgomery. This is not a me trying to trade you thing. This is you need to bail.
I don't think
Maybe
so.
not bail. I don't think you should bail. I think you should explore your options.
Sure. I think you should explore your options on every single player that you have on your roster.
Yeah.
Like we could say that.
True.
That's I'm
okay.
always
That's minimizing what I'm saying though. Like
yeah, it is.
You should actively be exploring
That's a better way
what
to
you're
say
doing with David Montgomery.
I guess but what do you anticipate getting? Like, what are you trying to get for him?
It always depends. I mean, like when you're okay. So if I'm a David Montgomery owner and contending, not contending, doesn't matter about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I see this team has a nice shot to make a run in the playoffs, but their RB2 is Jeff Wilson. Their RB2 is AJ Dillon. Their RB2 is Ramondre. Ramondre's great, but Damian Harris may loom in kind of whatever.
Yeah.
Their RB2 is questionable if existent at all. I'm targeting those guys, and I'm saying, look, man, you're going to need this if you're trying to make some playoff runs. Let me get this little young stud wide receiver that you have on your bench, or let me look at this tight end that you have. That's good. Or
such as,
I wouldn't target Garrett Wilson, although I find him a great dynasty asset.
Dude, that what's funny is I was just going to ask you if you were in a situation you had Monty, you had running back depth. Would it matter basically rebuilding, not rebuilding if you would trade Monty for Garrett Wilson?
I would that.
It would matter though for me because I don't know how you contend with Garrett Wilson with Zach Wilson there.
Yeah, I mean, that was my thing. Is like if I'm rebuilding, this is the kind of move I make where I'm going to deal Monty in a deal to get Garrett Wilson. You may even at this point, considering what he's done the past few weeks, you may be able to get Garrett Wilson plus.
I think you could
to a contending team.
Contending teams will send that all day. I think like they really will. Like if they're feeling strong, I think you could find trades that people are like, I'm trying to win. I don't care.
I'd much rather go like if it's me and I can sneak instead of Garrett Wilson, go for Drake London. I would do that. Like
Lave.
I
love all 3 of those.
The way the way I look at that, this isn't like a strictly kind of rebuilding mode. I kind of target the teams one, like you said, right? So like they're contending, but they have a weak link, and I have that piece. Obviously, that's what I'm going for. But if I can find a team like the Falcons, right, who theoretically should probably fade the rest of the year, but a premier talent like Drake London, you would think that they're going to bring in a quarterback this season. And instantly he becomes a top 15 player. Like if you can, it's hard to kind of
It
think
is.
it's
When
hard
they're
to play
3-3.
that out. Again, you guys kind of touched on it before I left. Had to let my dog out, but
You probably
DJ
had a
Moore is
fart.
somebody I'm actively trying to get because one, I think he's either going to get traded to a contending team with a good quarterback, or two, next year they're going to have a new quarterback that's going to actually get him the ball. So that's why I'm actively going for him in every league.
I am a new DJ Moore owner in one of your leagues. Please give me a call. Thanks.
That's fine.
Boom.
We can talk.
Boom.
Got it.
I'm just saying, like in every league, I'm trying to get him.
Yeah, no,
same.
and I think I think there's a that's the crazy part though, like, and that's what I think you need to explore in like anybody. Not I'm sorry that sounded
Yeah,
targeted.
he threw me under the. What is that? What's up, dude?
I just think you love these RBs and like explore them, dude. Get them. Their value is gonna.
Look,
Maybe not. Wait, hold on, real quick. I'm sorry. David Montgomery and Najee Harris. Who's higher right now in Dynasty? Without looking.
I'd still have to go Najee.
Which is telling.
I'd still have to go Najee.
Yeah,
And that speaks a
But
lot.
I think
doesn't it, for
I'm
both
a
of
lot
you guys?
higher on him.
Yeah.
I think I'm a lot higher on Najee for Dynasty than you two are right now.
I think Najee's outside of the top 15 RBs
I don't.
For Dynasty?
I
for
don't.
Dynasty.
I would say I would too, just because again, though,
I don't.
my thing is I play like if you look at if I like a lot of times I don't even really do like Dynasty rankings, to be honest. Like it's basically take my whatever my weekly ranks are
That's
and
how you're
kind of
playing?
like and shift them a little bit based on age. Like I'm serious, especially when it comes to running back. Like I really don't. I mean, obviously it's a little bit exaggerated, but like I mean, honestly, you could name probably 10 running backs. I would rather have them than Najee.
Let's go where I'm going to do a game. I'm going to do what would you rather for both of you. Let's say the situation is you're 6-6, league median. You have Najee Harris. I feel like saying 6-6 might not be fair. Let's say you're
In the hunt.
less
To make the playoffs.
5-7 or 4-8.
So rebuilding.
No, not necessarily. You might be like, I just need one piece, right?
Okay. Go on.
You're not committed to rebuilding, but you're not committed to contending.
Okay.
Austin Eckler or Najee Harris
Eckler.
in Dynasty.
Eckler.
Yeah,
That was easy. Barkley or Najee?
Barkley.
Chubb or Najee?
Chubb.
CMC or Najee?
CMC.
Mm-hmm.
Fournette or Najee?
Fournette. Instant for me.
Fournette, but it's closer than Norton.
Brees Hall or Najee?
Brees.
It's not Brees.
Josh Jacobs
Brees is
or
top
Najee?
5 right now for me, Dynasty.
Josh Jacobs or Najee?
Jacobs.
Never thought I'd say.
Caveat. I think Jacobs is moving next year to a team and he's actually getting work
He's getting a ton of work.
Yeah,
He looks
Yeah.
great.
Either way, like I'm in on Jacobs. I was off this year.
Curveball. Javonte Williams or Najee?
Najee.
Ooh, screw you guys.
You got him the rest
Javonte.
of this year, and again, we just spoke about it. Like next year, Javonte is probably not going to be good.
Fair
Yeah, I
point.
feel like it's almost a lost year next year, and then at that point, you got a guy in his third year.
Hopefully, some better pieces around him.
Yeah, hopefully,
Probably,
but like
probably still younger than Najee at that point.
right, but like, well,
Than Najee is currently. I'm pretty sure he will.
I thought you were gonna say.
24.
Yeah, I thought you meant like
I was going to say
Younger.
years move on.
Yeah, no, I know they both get
They
older.
both get a year older.
Younger than Najee is currently, is what I was saying.
It's whatever,
possible.
dude. It's
All right,
still
boys,
wear and tear on the body.
This is where it's going to get a little bit weird. Derrick Henry or Najee?
Henry.
Najee.
Henry easily. Ramondre or Najee?
Ramondre. I'm higher on Ramondre than I think people.
I guess I'll take Ramondre.
That's a good one though.
Yeah.
Joe Mixon or Najee?
Mixon.
Damian Pierce or Najee?
Come on now.
That's his boys.
Come on now. Yeah,
I
I would
don't
do
know.
that straight up easily. Najee for Dame. Give me Dame all day. Give me Dame all day.
I don't even know, dude. I guess Damian Pierce
Get
at
outta
this
here,
point.
dude. Hey, is he getting past work?
He is starting to get password.
he's getting
I
some
love that. I
password,
love
dude.
seeing that. now.
Najee or Dalvin Cook?
Dalvin.
That's a good one. That's a really good one.
I got more, dude. I'm not even done.
I mean, if I got offered Dalvin Cook for Najee today, I would take Dalvin.
Yeah, that's one of
That's how I'll look at it.
Najee or Tony Pollard?
Najee.
Najee.
Okay. Najee or Travis Etienne?
ETN for me.
Etienne.
Najee or Swift?
Swift.
This is backwards because it just came in the list. Najee or JT?
JT.
JT, he's still young.
Boys, you've just named like Najee or Kenneth Walker.
Kenneth Walker.
Najee.
It's Kenneth Walker. You named like 16 backs. 17. So like
Yeah,
think of
dude.
where that's putting Najee right now. And then you also both said Najee
Did we
over
name
DK.
17 backs?
There was a lot.
I don't think it was 17.
Okay. I'm going to name them. Eckler, Barkley, Chubb, CMC, Fournette, Brees Hall. That's 6. Josh Jacobs, 7. Derrick Henry, 8 for Norton. You could count your own, Rob. Ramondre, 9. Dalvin Cook, 10. Joe Mixon, 11. Damian Pierce, 12. Travis Etienne, 13. Kenneth Walker, 14. DeAndre Swift, if I didn't mention him, my bad, 15. JT, 16. Did I say Kenneth Walker? So that's 16 right there. That puts Najee 17.
I probably got him like top 13, 14.
I was gonna say it sounds.
The only one that you didn't pick in there was Derrick Henry.
There were a couple. And there were a
Who
couple that
else?
were really close.
Well, he took Najee, I think, over Walker.
Okay. So you got him 14. No, 15.
See,
Yeah,
for me
there's
with the
another-
with the Walker one, I'm interested to hear why you want Najee over Walker when Walker.
I think Penny will be a nuisance.
He's not in contract.
Then we
This
can
is it.
talk about it. We can talk about it after the season. I mean, that's fair. I guess I didn't take that into consideration. You're just throwing this at me without looking at contracts.
Hey, dude, we're just going off the top of our own noggin here.
Yeah, that's okay.
Little
I
did
mean,
you know this was just an attack Rob segment.
It was. With that caveat, like, yeah, probably Walker.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like for me, the reason is like Walker. We've seen as recent as obviously this week and last week getting workhorse level work and being good with it, and Najee is getting workhorse level work and not being good with it right now. And like, so that I mean, Andy Walker's younger. Walker is actually. You could make a case that Walker's actually a better prospect. Like his prospect profile is actually better. I know Najee's was like good. Obviously, he was a first round draft capital, but like just if you look at like player profiler and look at like their metrics and things, I think Walker is a little bit more explosive.
This is also thrown in your face right away. Like I always take into consideration looking at everything before I make a deal.
For sure.
My big thing with Najee is he's still getting a ton of work.
This Najee
True.
I'm with your house, dude. I'm the only one trying to prop him up. Like he's still getting a ton of work.
You're like, yeah, there it is. Here's his 24. Walker's 21. That's 3-year difference.
That's fine. But it's also touches on the body, dude. Like,
yeah, I think
that's a
fair
big
point.
difference.
You missed a little bit of our conversation and how Eckler is also a different sort of running back. He gets outside more. He catches. No, that could change things. I do want to talk about one more player before we hop off here, and maybe this is going too late. We could really end here, but I really wanted to get your guys' thoughts on Kyle Pitts and what you're doing. Are you buying low? Are you selling?
For sure.
Like Dynasty, this dude has been ranked tight end number 1. I think he was ranked tight end number 1 this year, right?
A lot of people did have him tight end 1 dynasty.
Yeah.
That's had a
I had him.
fall.
I had him 3, but like again, I'm very short term. So like
I'm a Pitts lover though.
I am too. I think he's been just so rough at this point that like it's your window to buy him is now. If you believe in him, if you want him, it is now. You gotta do something. You gotta get him now. Otherwise, like as soon as he starts stringing together good games, as soon as they start throwing the ball more often and him stringing together good games, like that price is just going to skyrocket because you see the talent, like you see his ability.
Same reason I'm going for Drake London. Like again, they are one. I don't think they're a good football team. I think they're going to end up being with a bad record. I think they're going to get a quarterback this year. If they can get a quarterback, Kyle Pitts and Drake London are instantly like huge values for Dynasty. Instantly. They still are.
And I agree. And like that's the thing is like the theme basically I feel like is like buy these talented pass catchers, like especially wide receivers and tight ends especially, because like we know that like running back is the most dependent on volume. Like it's the least dependent on like quote unquote talent, like
which is why I'm decently high on Najee.
Right. And it makes sense. Like so like but like we know that like it's the most on volume and the wide receiver and tight end is most predicated upon talent, and like draft capital goes into that. So like to me, like any young first round draft capital, even second round kind of guy, especially first round guys like Garrett Wilson, Drake London, and Olave.
Pitts was first round.
Pitts was the first round. Yeah, I think he was like might have been 4th even. Like he
was
top 5.
Yeah, something like that. So he like same thing, second year guy, top elite draft capital. Yeah. As we mentioned with DJ Moore, he's shown in the league multiple years that he's produced with, shit situations, but obviously he's struggling this year. Like I just think 3-4 years of sample size, and the dude's still super young. Like he's crazy young.
22 or something.
Yeah, it's like he's crazy young.
21.
So like
he's 21. He probably turns 22 this season.
Yeah, he was like that's how Njoku was coming in. He was like the youngest player taken in years. And now we're seeing you know what I mean? We're seeing I don't think it's going to take Pitts 4 years to turn into it, what Njoku's doing, but Njoku easily is still a top 5 tight end dynasty for me.
Le'Veon must have been young.
Trying to get him in everything.
Le'Veon was young too, yeah.
Yeah.
He was super young. But that's the thing, yeah. So I don't know.
Pitts, he's one of the hardest. I haven't made an offer because he's not discounted.
It is tough because like people who have him love him generally.
They love him.
Yeah.
And like it's hard to
discount it at all.
Yeah, like a lot of people who have him will still tell you they value him as. There's a lot of them will still say they value him as tight end 1 in Dynasty. So like, you're gonna have to pay up. I don't know. It's tough. It's hard to like value him at tight end 1 when you have no clue what this situation looks like for the next 3 or 4 years. None. They could draft a QB all you want. Is the QB going to be good? Yeah. Like, it's tough.
And even like and to that same point, to argue that same point in one way, I'm scared for Mark Andrews that Lamar doesn't stay in Baltimore. It changes his game completely.
Yeah.
True.
So like
it's true.
So are you selling Mark Andrews?
Hell no. Not especially tight end premium. No.
Are you selling Kelsey?
Tony Gonzalez was good till 37. That's what I'll go
by. I think if you're here's the situation. I'm considering it, right? So in a league I'm in, it's a 12 team. It's not tight end premium, but it's full PPR. My team is actually good. Like I've scored a ton of points, but I'm 0-6. And it's a 2-keeper league. And I kept Eckler and Kelsey heading into the year. Yeah. And
they're higher.
What's that?
Isn't that RB1 and tight end 1
Dude,
and you're 0-6?
I'm 0-6. I have the 4th most points in the league, but I'm 0-6. So like, but we could only keep 2 guys. So like I'm debating like this year, since I'm already 0-6, it seems unlikely that I'm going to make playoffs. I'm debating like shopping Kelsey around to try to get a young top end wide receiver, even if I have to give it up like Kelsey plus a good wide receiver to get like.
Who's your backup tight end?
I don't have anyone, honestly. But that's the thing is I'm 0-6 though, and that's why I'm like I can keep Kelsey next year if I wanted, but like I'd rather try to move like Kelsey plus a wide receiver and get like a a high end guy like Jefferson Chase. Like I don't know if that would even happen, but to keep, yeah. So like if it's something like that,
that's a keeper league.
Yeah, and I can only keep 2.
Different.
Yeah. So like
different.
But like if it's Dynasty thing like that,
But
I mean, would you guys make that kind of offer?
Yeah, he's saying like, do you trust Kelsey enough for at least another year? I don't know how long you could keep in this league.
This league, you could keep as long as you want, basically.
You're eventually gonna want to do this, I think.
And that's why I figure, like, if I'm 0-6 and I'm not gonna compete this year, I might as well float the offers, trading Kelsey while he's still peak.
Yeah,
Kelsey plus, even if it takes Kelsey plus a receiver to get like a Jefferson or a Chase.
Would you go for an Andrews?
Like trade Kelsey to get Andrews? You're saying?
Yeah. So like you kept the tight end for a reason. Would you go for Andrews? And would it be 1-for-1? You could really go for whoever though. Like you're 0-6.
That's what I'm saying.
The likelihood of you. That's slightly problematic for your guys' league because right now you're going to be like, yeah, I'll offer you my whole team if you just give me this guy.
I honestly, yeah. I mean, I've debated it.
Do they say anything? Like, what happens?
They probably would. They're some old school kind of dudes, like older, crusty old guys. But yeah, I know. And then that's the thing is like, I don't know what I want to do because like I keep looking and I'm like, maybe I could make a run, but I'm 0-6. I'm 4th in points and like
you lose
like my team's
you're done pretty much.
Yeah, because I had
you're 4th in points. You could be 7-7.
Yeah, but I mean I have good receivers. I have good stuff.
Thomas sure does. Happens every year in our league with the keeper. Maybe not as drastic, but it gets bad. You see one.
You're talking about like sell out like for keepers.
Yeah, like we try to rule teams out. Like your likelihood of playoffs is over. You can't trade, but like 0-6, we wouldn't rule you out because you could go 8-0.
Yeah, it's a tough thing every year, and you got to expect it. Like to me, like that's another point about dynasty and keeper leagues and things. You got to expect like if you're playing in this, you're gonna get trades like this. Like you got to understand that that's advantageous. It makes sense for both teams, and like as much as like the 10 other teams or 12 other teams don't like it, like
it's why like dynasty I'm in 2 dynasty leagues now. We did one a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and like it is far superior because like, and I love keeper leagues, but like you don't have to sit and worry about teams doing this at all because like you give up more now. You're giving up more for your whole future of your team. It's not the same as like, yeah, I'll just start over next year, like, which is what keeper leagues are. Like, I'll give up all of this right now and start over next year.
Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of people would tell you in a different sense that they think that the keeper kind of eliminates it a little bit because in Dynasty, people are like, well, I'll give you all my best old players, all my studs right now for just tons of picks and so they're just like
that screws you, right? Like that screws you in 3 years or whatever it may be.
You're saying giving up like
it's what's happening in our main dynasty right now.
That's how
we have like 2 or 3 teams that have full on rebuilt already, and then myself, I've sold out. I have no picks for next 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is like,
but if your team is young, who cares? Young-ish.
But like things just change so rapidly. Like you get rid of your picks, you get rid of your I want to put this in quotes, your solidified future. Like
sure, but there's no guarantee that
that's how I feel.
Somebody
give me the proven. We crowned my team.
Give me the proven talent. Give me the proven talent.
100
that's out of 100.
No,
That's how I feel too.
I'm with it. I'm with it too. But I'm just saying, like, once those picks are gone,
Like, would you
young team or not, shit changes from year to year. Young
like, would
team or
you
not.
would you sell a first round pick for DJ Moore?
No. Ugh.
Norton?
Which one would I rather have?
Yeah.
DJ Moore.
Yeah.
Over 23, I wouldn't.
I would
If I'm
I would
if
want
unless
DJ.
it's like unless it's like for me, unless it's a top 3,
Let's say it's
top
mid.
5.
That's a fair point. Like where you're drafting. Like if it's below top 5, like
Oh yeah,
It's
all
mid.
day.
no
Yeah, no
question.
way, dude. I don't even care. Like I'll give it away for less than DJ Moore. Like I don't care. Like to me, like once I get outside of anything. So like even I mentioned it this year too. Like the rookie group this year, there was about 6 or 7 deep. It was like the 2 running backs, Brees and Kenneth Walker, and then like the 4 or 5 receivers.
Yeah.
And outside of that, I'm like, dude, literally, I tweeted about it like all offseason. I'm like, if you're in a rookie draft, once those guys are gone, trade every pick. I don't even care. Like, dude, I did that in almost every single one of my dynasty leagues. I just traded picks, like especially when it was like slow drafts and where we were on the clock for rookie
You would
drafts
have
and
missed
stuff.
out on Damian Pierce.
Yeah, but then I if
Rob's like,
he knows
Thank you. Yeah.
if
Yep.
I'm the one that drafts Damian Pierce, like if that's the problem is like he was the one. I mean, which
Well,
other guy
I just-
outside of that group hit?
I think I understand what you're saying, but like we're also looking at a 2022 draft class that was supposedly one of the weakest in years since 2013 is what I remember seeing. Look at 2020. Like there was hits in the 3rd round. Justin Herbert was a 3rd round pick in that one in Superflex. Joe Burrow was the 2nd round, I'm pretty sure. Jefferson in that? I think so.
Even in
Burrow was the
Superflex?
2nd round?
In Superflex. I've looked it up. I don't have
Damn,
a
that's
league to
crazy,
look
'cause
at.
he
Not
was
a
the first overall
not a
pick.
rookie draft though.
It was a rookie draft. I looked up
That
2020
makes
rookie
he was
drafts.
the number 1 pick that year.
Yeah, he had to been like because
Rookie
even dude,
draft.
I was actually I was fairly higher on him, but because I thought he was going to run more, and he did until he got hurt. But yeah, he's got to be up there in Superflex, like.
Yeah. That
But
does make sense.
even still though, like to your point, like I mean, I understand that draft was definitely better, but like and like that's the thing is like for me though,
Was he
like once
2020, right? He was 2020.
yeah, I think so.
Okay. There's a whole article that
But
go ahead.
even still, like I said last year, there was like the group of like 4 or 5 receivers, and there was the group of 2 running backs to me. And then after that, it was a straight up crapshoot where you were like a 10% chance of hitting someone, and that hit was like Damian Pierce.
it was a single QB. My bad, y'all.
Oh, okay. But
It was a Fantasy Pros mock draft.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But that makes
He
sense.
went-
It definitely
he
makes
went
sense.
second round there. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes a lot more sense.
But even still, like do you have it pulled up that draft?
Yeah, I do. It's a single
What-
QB. It went Clyde. So there's a lot of hitters in this, and there's a lot of kind of whatever. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, JT, J.K. Dobbins, Jerry Jeudy, C.D. Lamb, Cam Akers, DeAndre Swift, Henry Ruggs, Keyshawn Vaughn, Jalen Rager.
Yep,
Ooh,
I remember
at
this
8
draft too.
At 8 through 10. 111 was Justin Jefferson. 12 was Michael Pittman. Round 2, Laviska, T. Higgins, Denzel
Yeah.
Mims, Zach Moss, Joe Burrow, Brandon Ayuk, Tua, Antonio Gibson, Anthony McFarlane.
Yeah, I remember that.
Brian Edwards, AJ Dillon. Wait for this name. You ready for this one? Antonio Gandy Golden.
Yeah, I remember old
I don't think
AGG.
he's not even in the league, I don't think. I think he got cut this year. KJ Hamler, Darrington Evans, Chase Claypool, Cole Kmet, Devin Duvernay, Josh Kelly, Van Jefferson, Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, Lynn Bolden, Adam Troutman, LaMichael Perrine.
So here's the thing. So which of those guys, even in the first round, I mean, what is it?
You hit a lot.
50%, right?
Clyde, you could say Clyde's a miss. I think
Yeah.
JK and Jerry are up in there. Can we just not count them?
Yeah, but here's my thing with JK, for example. If you, like you said, if you would have at that time sold JK or that first round pick, which was end up being top 3 for DJ Moore, would you have been happier with DJ Moore from that point forward or JK?
Well, you
DJ
would've been
Moore from that
happy-
point for sure.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
think that's not fair because the injury took an
Yeah, but that happens.
Right, that's
I'd
what I'm
rather
saying,
but that happens everywhere though. Like
Or
you're not
Jerry
you're not picking
Jeudy.
out a guy. Yeah, you're not. Jerry Judy's fine. That's what I'm saying. You're not picking out a guy to compare it with that also was injured. You know what I mean? Like you're picking the DJ Moore here. That's not fair.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like we're also picking like that's
But like
that's,
you could
that's
have easily
theoretical.
said, would you have been happier with? Let's think of an RB who's been out, Saquon Barkley. I mean, obviously you're happy now,
Right.
but I'm just saying like you could pick those RBs that were out the same time JK was out. Is what I'm saying.
But yeah, but I mean like to the original point was, would you rather have DJ Moore or the first round pick?
Yeah,
And then so like
I would
with
be
the first
happy
round
with
pick
CeeDee
is the
Lamb.
unknown. True, and that's why like for me, I had CeeDee Lamb above Judy. I think most people did. Like I felt like he got drafted above him, right? Or maybe I'm wrong on that. I know they were close because it didn't go. I thought it went Ruggs, Lamb, Judy, maybe, or maybe it was because Ruggs was the first pick of receivers. I'm pretty sure of that draft class because it was a surprise that the Raiders took him. Well, it was almost a surprise because they just picked speed, but
They had 13 wide receivers going that round.
Dude, and that receiver class was heralded for sure. But I remember Lamb versus Judy was definitely like a debate heading in, and but yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Henry Ruggs, Jerry Judy, CeeDee Lamb, Rager, Justin Jefferson, Ayuk were first.
yeah,
round.
I remember that year I was high on Lamb, but I also made the mistake of the Rager over Jefferson, so that was a rough one for me too. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's the thing. Is like it for me. I guess I'm like Rob. Take the proven talent over the draft pick, unless it's a top 3 to if you can guarantee basically it's a top 3 to 5 pick. Like then you're looking at a real good shot at like an elite player.
Yeah, I get like DJ Moore. We got to wrap this up. I'll text what I have to say though, and maybe even tweet about it. I'm not even going to hit the outro music tonight, boys. We went too long. Robbie's over here falling asleep on the mic. You can see his eyes. Look at him there.
I'm fine.
I'm fine. He had enough of us tonight, Norton. Outside of the DJ. You know what? This is why I'm wrapping it up because you guys went after me about DJ Moore.
That's fair. You're a new DJ Moore.
I am a new owner.
Yeah. So you should be
I'm
excited.
I'm in.
I don't think I would have done it for Najee, but
If you
I
guys
would.
aren't already following, thank you, Norton, us on Twitter at DadBodFS, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, Dadbod Fantasy Squad for our recorded videos. We also posted the sounds to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Rob?
all the major streaming platforms.
All other major streaming platforms. For myself, for Robbie, for Norton at Norton0723. Peace.